Well, I haven't generated a video in a while. It's been the holidays, and then after that my wife and I both got the flu. I'm sure some of y'all can sympathize with that. So been kind of taking it easy, but I did get the thermostat housing off, and really it's only the 2 bolts there and the 2 bolts there. It still had the original factory metal gaskets. And as you can see, I've also pulled the coolant tube in between them. And we'll discuss that more later when I'm installing a water pump and why I went to all this trouble to do it now on this side. Also, you can see a lot of the hoses had to be removed to the turbo coolant, heater hoses, and such. To take off the coil, I have it right here. It's really just 3 bolts. There's one up here, which is really easy to see, and then there's one on the end right behind the motor mount bracket, and then the third one is the one that everyone misses, and it's this one down here on the bottom right. I think it's a 10 millimeter, so that's the one you'll probably have trouble finding, but it's down there. So once you remove the coil, then I also removed the thermostat housing. I've left all the hoses on it so I can go ahead and match them up later. Also have to change out the thermostat inside the housing. And here's the coolant tube. It's in actually awesome shape. It still has a zinc coating on it. Seals are in good shape. This actually sits down the middle of the engine valley, and this end pokes into the water pump, and this end goes down on his side. Now, to get it off this bracket, those 2 bolts are easy enough to see, but you'll have to loosen up the power transistor unit, which is this module right here. And if you notice, the very end of that module, this coolant tube goes right behind that bracket, so you'll have to loosen it up. And the bolt to loosen it is not only on that left side, but underneath there's a 10 meter which you'll have to loosen up so you can move this up out of the way. You don't have to take it completely off. And obviously the coolant tube runs something like this down through the center of the engine valley. So when I go to put the water pump on, now that this coolant tube's out of the way, I don't have to worry about trying to line it up and getting it to seal properly from the other side with such limited workspace between the fender and the rest of the engine. So the next step will be to remove the belts. So you have a power steering belt that runs back behind here. Don't know if you can see it without some light in here. See the numbering? So there's your power steering belt. There's a bracket right on the end of that where that lettering is. I don't know if you can see it. It's got a little tongue inside it, so you'll be able to get a wrench in there and tighten it back up. And then there's 2 long bolts that hold all that together as well. And then you've got your front serpentine belt. And to loosen the front serpentine belt, once again, go up underneath through the wheel well. And as you can see, since I've removed that cover, now the crank pulley's loose. And so here's your idler pulley. And there's an idler adjustment bracket right on top. And if you see that nut on the top hand side, that will adjust the belt tension. And we'll have to loosen all that up to get this serpentine belt out of the way. So that's what's next, and we'll pick up the video from there next time. Hope y'all had a safe and wonderful new year, and look forward to getting into the meat and potatoes of this here soon.